When a game is released in December, its quality is immediately suspect, and the same can be said about titles that experience massive delays. Rogue Warrior not only has both of these issues, but it also changed developers mid-production, another death note for the industry. With Bethesda's support, however, there was a tiny bit of optimism left, and a lingering chance that the Fallout publisher knew what they were doing. Loosely based on the autobiography of Navy SEAL Richard Marcinko, the story sends players on a mission into Soviet territory in the 1980s to destroy missiles being held by North Koreans. The game's 8 missions bring Marcinko through a number of locations, all of which look and play essentially the same, to the point where it feels as though they could have been presented in any order without losing much. In fact, despite early reports that the game would focus on story and character development, there's really nothing interesting that happens in the entire game, both in terms of narrative and exciting encounters. If at any point it looks as though it might move beyond a corridor shooter, something comes up during a cutscene to push it back on course. End a mission by jumping onto a moving train? Start the next not fighting on it, but getting off at the next stop. When it's over, only 2 or 3 hours at most have passed, and not a moment was really that memorable.
I'm feeling the heat already.
Rogue Warrior feels like it was developed in 1997 and saved in a time capsule for 2009. Everything is sluggish, lacking the fluidity of modern shooters. The only modern element is a cover system, but even that can be frustrating to work with. Instead of dealing with that issue and poor hit detection, it's usually easier to just spray bullets in the general direction of opponents and eventually sprint towards them for a finishing move, which cues in an animation of Marcinko brutally killing an opponent. These assassinations might be the best elements of the Rogue Warrior's gameplay, and even they become boring after the animations start repeating 10 minutes into the game. On the back of the box, it's written that there's intense online multiplayer. This statement is pretty much a lie. In 2009, Rogue Warrior's 8-player deathmatch and 4v4 team deathmatch simply doesn't cut it, especially when mixed together with sloppy and unentertaining combat mechanics. Even if for some reason you find yourself interested in the game's online portion, you'll likely be the only one, sitting in the lobby and waiting for others to join instead of playing better games like Modern Warfare 2, Left 4 Dead 2, or 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. Just as the gameplay has evolved, the game has very little going for it in terms of presentation. Textures are muddy, character models are unimpressive, and the environment looks simply embarrassing. The absolute best thing about the entire package is Mickey Rourke, who voices Richard Marcinko, throwing out constant quips and one-liners.
Better dead than red, assholes.
Even these, though, grow tiresome, and by the time it's all edited together into a rap during the credits, his voice is synonymous with the game, a reminder of the 2 hours wasted playing this instead of anything else. It's bittersweet, to say the least. With lackluster multiplayer offerings and one of the shortest single-player campaigns in recent memory, Rogue Warrior is a smudge on Bethesda's otherwise stellar record. In a holiday season littered with AAA titles, it's not worth paying attention to. Hell, if it were the only game released in 2009, it still wouldn't be worth playing. Save your money, spend it on anything else, and forget Rogue Warrior ever existed. Thanks for watching, and be sure to check out the full text review on Gamervision.com.